Welcome to today's lecture on structured logging and observability. We'll explore how apparent correctness can mask underlying issues when concurrency or operational pressures are introduced. It's essential for engineers to analyze and defend their designs to ensure trustworthiness under these conditions. Let's start with a common scenario. A course project that looks flawless during a simple demonstration falls apart when faced with concurrency or ambiguity. This exposes hidden assumptions about the system's logging. What exactly must engineers scrutinize and justify before placing their trust in the outcomes?
What kind of hidden assumptions are we talking about?
Great question. These assumptions can relate to how we log information and whether our current logging practices truly capture all necessary states. Moving forward, we'll discuss several core concepts that are vital to understanding structured logging and observability. Each of these concepts addresses critical conditions that need to be explicit for our systems to be robust under pressure. Structured logging is the practice of recording logs in a format that's easily interpretable by machines, such as JSON. This includes critical metadata, like timestamps and thread IDs. Understanding this mechanism is essential, as neglecting it can lead to serious issues, including duplicate work or outdated states.
How does structured logging prevent those issues?
By capturing all relevant details in a consistent format, structured logging allows us to accurately trace issues back to their root causes, preventing stale states and confirming workflow integrity. Correlation IDs are unique identifiers assigned to individual requests. These IDs track the flow of a request through various logs. They are important because, without them, we risk generating duplicate work or encountering stale information during processing.
If we're missing correlation IDs, how can we track what went wrong?
Without them, retracing a request's path becomes nearly impossible, leaving us unable to diagnose failures accurately. Traceability refers to the ability to track the journey of an individual object across different threads. This transparency is crucial. Failing to implement it can lead to the same failures we've discussed, such as duplicate processing and stale states.
What exactly does a lack of traceability look like in the system?
It looks like actions being performed multiple times without awareness of prior states, causing our operations to unexpectedly overlap. Observability means designing our systems so that we can infer their internal state from external outputs, like logs. This aspect is paramount for maintaining system integrity, as ignoring observability can again result in duplicate work or other discrepancies.
What makes a system observable in practice?
It's about ensuring that our logs contain sufficient context and detail so we can reconstruct the system's state and the effects of operations without running the system itself. Operational pressure encompasses factors like load and latency that can reveal underlying system limitations. Identifying how pressure affects system behavior is essential, as overlooking it could lead to duplicate work and performance bottlenecks.
How do we measure operational pressure?
We can measure it using metrics like request latency, error rates, and system throughput under varied load conditions. Now let's visualize the relationships between structured logging, correlation IDs, and other key elements. This architecture illustrates how each of these components feeds into the overall goal of ensuring system integrity under various pressures. To anchor our understanding, I'll walk through a worked example using the podcast domain. Here, we see different workers performing tasks like audio cleanup and transcript generation, all tied to the same episode. These logs are critical for troubleshooting and ensuring workflow consistency.
What might go wrong in this scenario?
Conflicts may arise if two workers try to process the same episode simultaneously, leading to potential data inconsistencies. In our podcast example, we see multiple workers logging actions for the same episode. This setup lays the groundwork for identifying issues that may arise when multiple operations compete for resources, helping us to diagnose hidden faults. When operations overlap, due to delays or retries, the system can yield stale state or duplicate effects. This mismatch reveals a gap between our design assumptions and the reality of the execution model, highlighting the risks of concurrency.
So, how do we fix these overlapping issues?
By clarifying our design assumptions and ensuring observable transitions, we establish a safer operating environment for our concurrent tasks. To mitigate these risks, we must clarify the invariant that our system must maintain. By making state transitions observable and implementing controls like version checks, we can establish a more robust framework that minimizes potential failures.
How do version checks specifically help with this?
They help ensure that a worker only processes a request with the appropriate and current state, avoiding actions based on stale data. Next, we'll look at our visual model anchors. Here we see the actors involved, including the load driver, API gateway, and worker pool, illustrating how they interact and how each role affects the overall design and observability. This diagram outlines the interaction among the load driver, API gateway, and worker pool. The load driver sends concurrent requests while the API gateway assigns correlation IDs, ensuring that each request can be traced through the logs effectively.
What would happen if the API gateway failed to assign correlation IDs?
That would make it impossible to trace logs back to a specific request, complicating debugging efforts significantly. In our state transition model, we visualize the stages the system can undergo, from a healthy state to saturated, then degraded, and so forth. Understanding these transitions is vital for maintaining system integrity under varying loads.
How do we determine if the system is moving from healthy to saturated?
We monitor metrics like request rates and queue depths to spot when we exceed our system's capacity. Here we look at failure interleaving, where a load test pushes concurrent requests while our worker pool handles retries. This scenario highlights the complexities that arise under stress, necessitating careful design considerations to avoid catastrophic failures.
What should we consider when designing for concurrent requests?
It's vital to account for potential race conditions and ensure that state transitions are safe from overlapping executions. As pressure builds, whether from sustained load or partial delays, we may observe latency spikes, duplicate work, and gaps in our logging. Recognizing these signs is crucial in diagnosing system failures.
What can we do to track these failures in our logs?
Robust logging practices that include context and correlation IDs will help us identify these issues as they arise. For a strong design response, we protect the property of system integrity. We implement mechanisms that introduce trade-offs, such as reduced peak throughput, which might delay processing in exchange for better recovery options.
How do we assess if the trade-off is worth it?
We compare the recovery benefits against potential disruptions and prioritize designs that maintain system integrity even under stress. To substantiate our claims about structured logging and observability, our design must clearly show both failure and recovery paths, supported by measurements and metrics. A solid approach will include stress evidence that gives a complete picture of the system's behavior.
What kind of metrics should we focus on?
Key metrics would include latency, error rates, and throughput during both normal and stressed conditions. I want to draw your attention to common failure modes and anti-patterns, such as systems passing a single happy path demonstration. The way to detect these pitfalls is by implementing tests that account for invariance and pressure scenarios.
How do we ensure our tests effectively reveal these anti-patterns?
By designing tests that simulate real-world usage and include both happy path and failure scenarios to uncover hidden issues. Our trade-off analysis summarizes the strengths and weaknesses of various design approaches. By comparing options, we learn when to apply simple baselines versus more guarded transitions and the importance of explicit coordination.
How do we decide which design to implement?
It depends on the specific context of the system and the known requirements, as each approach comes with its own set of compromises. As a practical exercise, I encourage you to identify the most relevant invariant related to structured logging. Also, consider writing both a sequential scenario that you expect to succeed and a pressure scenario that could reveal a failure. Remember, this lecture aligns with your assignment 1. Think about how the concepts we discussed apply to your semester project, focusing on structures, workflows, and how you will demonstrate the impact of logging and observability. To reinforce our learning, let's consider some validation questions. What key invariant applies to this topic? What hidden assumptions might mislead your design? How would you force a repeatable failure test? To conclude, structured logging and observability are not merely subjects to discuss. They're essential tools for engineers to ensure a system's reliability under real-world conditions. It's vital that our designs are robust, explainable, and validated through evidence.